There is a race happening right now at the 2026 World Cup. Four men, one trophy, and a number that nobody has agreed on for 20 years. I am not going to tell you who is winning it right now. Not yet, because to understand what this race means, you first have to understand what it is actually deciding, and it is deciding something much bigger than a golden shoe. It is deciding once and for all the answer to a question that football fans have been arguing about since 2009. Who is the greatest player of this generation? And for the first time in history, that argument is being settled not in a club dressing room, not in a Champions League final, but on the same pitch, in the same tournament, with the same stakes, at the same time. Welcome to Memory of the Pitch. Let's get started. Let me give you the picture as it stands right now. Lionel Messi has 6 World Cup goals at this tournament. 6 goals in 4 appearances. He began with a hat-trick against Algeria in the opening game, his first ever World Cup hat-trick at 38 years old, then added 2 more against Austria and completed the group stage with a sublime free kick against Jordan on the night he turned 39 years old. 6 goals, the most of any player in this tournament through the group stage. Kylian Mbappé has 6 World Cup goals at this tournament as well. 2 against Senegal, 2 against Iraq, 2 against Sweden in the round of 32, 6 goals in 4 appearances. He also has 2 assists, which matters because FIFA's tiebreaker for the Golden Boot is the assist count when goals are level. Right now, Mbappé technically leads the race, not because he has more goals, because he has more assists. Erling Haaland has 5 World Cup goals, 2 against Iraq in the group opener, 2 against Senegal, 1 against Ivory Coast in the round of 32, 5 goals 3 games after sitting out the France match entirely when Norway rested their entire first team. He is 25 years old. He is playing in his first ever World Cup, and he is 1 goal behind the 2 players who have dominated world football for 15 years. And then there is Ousmane Dembélé. 4 World Cup goals, all in the group stage, 1 against Iraq, then a hat-trick against Norway, the second fastest hat-trick in World Cup history, scored in 32 minutes, including 2 identical goals from the right side of the box, curling left-footed to the far corner with a precision that left the Norway goalkeeper completely helpless. 4 goals, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, the man who reminded the world, in Boston on June 26th, that this French squad has more than one weapon. 4 men, Messi with 6, Mbappé with 6 and 2 assists, Haaland with 5, Dembélé with 4, and the tournament has barely reached the round of 16. This race is not close to finished, and that is exactly what makes it the most compelling individual story at the 2026 World Cup. To understand what Messi is doing at this World Cup, you have to understand what he walked into. Before the tournament began, Miroslav Klose held the all-time men's World Cup scoring record with 16 goals. It had stood since the 2014 final in Rio de Janeiro, when Klose scored his 16th against Brazil in Germany's 7-1 demolition. 12 years. The record had been there for 12 years, and nobody had come close. Messi came into this tournament with 13 World Cup goals. He needed 4 to break the record. At 38 years old, turning 39 during the tournament, with a hamstring concern entering camp, most reasonable people suggested that chasing Klose's record was a secondary consideration at best. The primary question was whether Messi could help Argentina defend the title. The record was something people hoped for but did not quite expect. And then the tournament started. Hat-trick against Algeria in the opening game, 2 more against Austria in the second game, his 17th in the 81st minute against Jordan from a free kick, his 72nd career free kick goal as a second-half substitute, 3 days after his 39th birthday, his 18th minutes later completing his record, and then the number that nobody thought they would see written next to Messi's name at this tournament, 19, the all-time World Cup scoring record, his. He is now the first player in history to score in 7 consecutive World Cup matches. Just Fontaine did it, Jairzinho did it, now Messi has done it. He is also the oldest player in World Cup history to score a hat-trick, the oldest to score a free kick goal, the oldest to lead the tournament's scoring chart after 4 matches. Every game is a new record. Every appearance is a new chapter in a story that football will be telling for generations. But here is what I want to know from you. Drop it in the comments right now. You are watching Messi at 39, breaking records at the World Cup that nobody thought were breakable. Is this the greatest individual World Cup performance you have ever seen? Or does someone else from football history claim that title in your view? Tell me below. Now let me tell you about Kylian Mbappé. Because if Messi is the story of a legend refusing to let time win, Mbappé is the story of something else entirely. He is the story of a player who should not be this good yet, and who is already better than almost everyone who has ever played this game. Mbappé is 25 years old. He has already scored 14 World Cup goals across 3 tournaments: 2018, 2022, and now 2026. That places him third on the all-time list behind Messi's 19 and Klose's 16. He passed Pelé's total of 12 earlier in this tournament. He is now the all-time leading scorer in World Cup knockout stages with 10 goals, surpassing Brazil's Ronaldo, who held that record since 2002. And he has done all of this before his 26th birthday. In this tournament, Mbappé has been extraordinary. 2 goals against Senegal, 2 against Iraq, 2 against Sweden in the round of 32, including a second-half goal that drew him level with Messi in the Golden Boot race at 6 goals. And beyond the goals, the movement, the pressing, the creation, France have scored 10 goals in 4 matches, and Mbappé has been at the center of almost every dangerous moment. The technical detail that currently separates Mbappé from Messi in the Golden Boot standings is the assist tiebreaker. Both have 6 goals, but Mbappé has 2 assists. Messi has 0. Under FIFA's rules, if the tournament ended today, the Golden Boot would go to Mbappé. That single statistical detail, 2 assists against 0, is the difference between winning the award that defines individual greatness at a World Cup and finishing second despite scoring the same number of goals. And then there is Erling Haaland. I want to take a moment on Haaland specifically because I think his story at this tournament is being slightly underappreciated in the shadow of the Messi-Mbappé narrative. This is Haaland's first World Cup. Consider what Haaland has already achieved here: 5 goals in 3 games, because Norway wisely rested him entirely against France in the group stage, a decision that looks strange at the time but makes more sense every day. He scored twice against Iraq in the opener, twice against Senegal, and then after sitting out the France game, he came back against Ivory Coast in the round of 32 and scored the winning goal. Norway are in the round of 16. Haaland has 5 World Cup goals, and he is 25 years old. The uncomfortable truth about Haaland's position in this race is this: he is the youngest of the 4 main contenders. He has played fewer minutes. He has had 1 game completely rested, and he is still only 1 goal behind the joint leaders. If Norway go deep, and they can, Haaland's goals will keep coming. The man scored 55 goals in 50 internationals before this tournament. He does not stop. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. You have Messi at 39, Mbappé at 25, and Haaland at 25, all chasing the same trophy. If you had to pick one of these 3 to win the Golden Boot by the time this tournament ends, just one, who is it? Not who you want to win. Who do you actually think will win it? Leave your answer below. I read every single one. But I have not finished, because this Golden Boot race has a 4th serious contender, and he is the one that almost nobody was talking about before the tournament started: Ousmane Dembélé, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, the player who has been one of the most naturally gifted footballers in the world for the last 5 years, but who had never, before this tournament, scored a single goal in a major international competition. Not one. 0 goals in the Euros, 0 goals in previous World Cups, 0 goals when the stakes were at their highest. And then on June 26, 2026 in Boston, against a much-changed Norway side, Ousmane Dembélé scored 3 goals in 32 minutes, the second fastest hat-trick in World Cup history. Twice he picked up the ball on the right side of the box, shifted it onto his left foot, and curled it into the far corner with a precision and confidence that made it look routine. A third from close range, 4 goals in this tournament, and a statement that France's attacking depth goes far deeper than anyone feared. If France reach the semifinals, which given their group stage dominance is not an unreasonable expectation, Dembélé will have at least 3 more games to add to his total. And in a France team that creates chances at the volume and quality that this squad does, 3 games is enough time to go from 4 goals to 8, to go from contender to champion. Now I want to step back from the individual numbers and talk about what this race is actually deciding. Because the Golden Boot at a World Cup is not just a statistical award. It is not just the name of the player who scored the most goals. It carries a weight that goes beyond football. It answers questions that fans have been unable to answer through club careers, Champions League trophies, and Ballon d'Or votes. It answers those questions in the only arena where all the variables are equal: the same tournament, the same stakes, the same opponents. Messi already has the World Cup. He won it in 2022. That is settled. But the Golden Boot at this tournament, his second World Cup as the defending champion at 39 years old, against the generation that is supposed to replace him, would mean something different. It would mean that not only did he win when it mattered most, he was also the best individual performer in the world's biggest competition 4 years later at an age when nobody should still be competing at this level. Mbappé's case is different but equally compelling. He already won the Golden Boot in 2022. He is chasing history in a different direction. Not the record of 16 goals that Messi already broke, but the record of what a 25-year-old can accumulate across 2 tournaments. If Mbappé wins the Golden Boot here, he will have won it in 2 consecutive World Cups. Nobody has ever done that. Not Pelé, not Ronaldo, not anyone. And Haaland. If Haaland wins the Golden Boot at this tournament in his first ever World Cup against Messi and Mbappé at the peak of their powers, it will not just be a statistical achievement. It will be a coronation. It will be the moment that football acknowledges, officially and undeniably, that the transition of power has begun, that the generation which dominated the sport for 15 years is giving way to something new, and that something new has a name, and he is 25 years old. Let me tell you where each contender stands going into the knockout rounds. Argentina face Cape Verde in the round of 32 in Miami. Portugal face Croatia in Toronto. France have already beaten Sweden in the round of 32 and now face a third-place qualifier in New Jersey. Norway face Ivory Coast in Dallas. These are not equal paths. The teams you face, the rest you get between matches, the physical demands of the tournament, all of these factors will shape who leads the Golden Boot race when the semifinals arrive. The mathematics of the Golden Boot are brutal and simple. The player whose team goes deepest has the most opportunities to score. France, Argentina, and potentially Norway are the teams most expected to reach the later rounds. If Mbappé's France reach the final, he will have played up to 7 matches. 7 matches for a player in the form of his life, in a team that creates 10 chances per game. If Messi's Argentina reach the final, defending the title they won in 2022 at 39 years old, the numbers he could reach become almost unthinkable. There is one more dimension to this race that I want to address, and it is the dimension that makes it genuinely unique in the history of the sport. We have never had a World Cup Golden Boot race that simultaneously involves the all-time leading scorer in World Cup history, a player chasing consecutive Golden Boots for the first time ever, and a 25-year-old in his debut tournament who could announce himself as the best striker alive. All 3 storylines, same tournament, right now. The numbers say Mbappé leads right now on assists. The heart says Messi should win everything he ever touches on a football pitch. The future says Haaland's time is coming and it may already be here. And then there is Dembélé, the Ballon d'Or winner with 4 goals, who no one was discussing before June and who could be the story of the tournament by July. I do not know. Nobody does. That is what makes this the greatest Golden Boot race in the history of the sport. And I have been watching this tournament closely enough to tell you that whatever happens over the next 3 weeks, this race will be talked about long after the final is played, long after the trophy is lifted, long after 2026 becomes memory. So I want to leave you with one final question, and I want you to answer it in the comments with your full honest opinion, not who you support, not who you love as a player. Who do you actually think lifts the Golden Boot when this tournament is over? Messi, making the impossible look routine at 39? Mbappé, defending an individual crown nobody has ever defended? Haaland, announcing his generation's arrival in the most emphatic way possible? Or Dembélé, the wild card who arrived without warning and could leave as the tournament's defining scorer? Tell me, because this is the conversation that football needs to have right now, and it is happening on this pitch, in this tournament, at this exact moment in history. Subscribe to Memory of the Pitch. We will be covering every match, every goal, and every moment of this Golden Boot race until the final whistle blows in New Jersey on July 19th. The story is not finished. It is only just beginning.